We are holding this important hearing today to spotlight and underscore customer service challenges at the Social Security Administration during the COVID-19 pandemic and prior to 2020. Americans know and understand Social Security is an earned benefit which Congress has established and that they have paid for with each and every paycheck. We have all heard stories from our constituents and from well-publicized articles across the country of the struggles Americans are having accessing benefits and services while the field offices were closed during the pandemic due to health and safety concerns. We have also heard from employees and union members. As chair of the subcommittee, we have conducted extensive oversight of the agency during the pandemic, contacting the agency repeatedly regarding our concerns about customer service during the pandemic, and have requested 4 reports from the General Accountability Office and the Office of Inspector General. We would also like to thank the Chairman of the Oversight Subcommittee, Bill Pascrell, and Chairman of the Worker Family Subcommittee, Danny Davis, for their work to ensure that both Social Security and Supplemental Security income beneficiaries have access to benefits and services. In one of the recent reports we requested from the Inspector General focused on the difficulties with telephone service, resulting in long wait times, sometimes more than an hour, recurring busy signals, and disconnections. Without objection, I would ask that I enter into the record the letters to SSA and the GAO and the Inspector General for the record. I would also like to submit written testimony from the American Federation of Government Employees of the AFL-CIO, representing 43,000 employees at SSA. Without objection, so ordered. In May of 2020, the subcommittee held a roundtable with stakeholders, and in July of 2020, a public hearing on the impact of COVID on Social Security and its beneficiaries. As we will hear today, many seniors, low-income individuals, people of color, and those with disabilities don't have access to a computer or have difficulty navigating the phone system. In-person walk-up service to SSA is essential to removing those barriers. But we should remember that SSA has struggled to provide adequate customer service even before the pandemic due to administrative funding that has not kept pace with inflation or the agency's growing number of beneficiaries. This is a nonpartisan issue and should be resolved, as I like to say, in the family. The number of beneficiaries since 2010 has grown by 21%, from 54 million to 65 million, yet SSA's budget has fallen by 14% during that same time when you adjust for inflation. As a result, SSA was forced to shrink its workforce, and now SSA has fewer than 60,000 workers, which is the lowest in 25 years, despite almost double the number of beneficiaries, and compounded by the pandemic and the 10,000 baby boomers a day who become eligible for Social Security. Compared to 2010, SSA has 13% fewer employees available to serve the public, a loss of 1 out of every 8 positions. The agency was also forced to shut 67 field offices, shorten hours in its field offices that were open to the public, and put off critical updates to its information technology and telephone system. More than 100,000 Americans have died awaiting final decision on their appeal for SSA disability benefits. That is flat out unacceptable. I recently visited the field offices in my district, and the SSA employees I met are extremely dedicated and hardworking public servants doing an almost impossible job with the resources they have. They shared with me the hiring and retention problems caused by lack of funding, SSA's operations, funding, its retirement, dependent and disability benefits are primarily funded by the Social Security trust funds, which in turn are funded through workers' contributions through FICA, the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, with each and every paycheck. It is the largest federal agency serving 65 million Americans with an average of 40 million field office visitors a year prior to the pandemic, paying out more than $1 trillion in benefits each year, and also it is the most efficient federal agency. Everyone should take pride in that fact. I know a little bit about insurance, and to have a 99% loss ratio is something that would be the envy of any private sector insurance company. The envy, because they aren't even close to that. I want to commend the agency on its reopening April the 7th with 98% of its 1,200 field offices open to walk-in visitors and with its increased use of telework for employees. Members of this subcommittee and I are joining with Senators Brown, Wyden, and Casey, and I would ask if any of our Republican colleagues want to join us as well with sending a letter to President Biden today calling for the establishment of a position of beneficiary advocate at SSA. While every Social Security employee is an advocate for beneficiaries, I believe this position will elevate the needs of beneficiaries within the agency and is modeled after a similar office within the IRS. SSA is an extremely efficient agency. This is something Republicans and Democrats can agree on. Its operating budget for retirement, survivor, and disability programs is less than 1% of the benefits paid each year. As I said earlier, the private sector envies this. They wish they could be that efficient. But we can't be efficient without more funding, and with 10,000 baby boomers retiring a day, and with many Americans needing essential in-person visits to the field office, this has become a necessity. Lastly, I would note that Social Security 2100, a sacred trust with over 200 co-sponsors, includes several critical customer service improvements, including one authored by our own Brian Higgins from Buffalo to prevent field office closures unless certain requirements are met. We look forward to that markup in later this month or the early part of June. It is Congress's responsibility to vote and improve and protect Social Security benefits Americans have paid for with each and every one of their paychecks. With that, I would yield to Mr. Herm for his comments.